High school football can be a place where legends are born. People like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Rico Dynamite have gone down in history just from their play at that level.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
But the most storied high school player of all time played only one game. Actually, less than one full game. One beautiful, historic, unforgettable game. Hey, what's up guys? Jefferson Steelflex here. This is Josh Nichols, and the story of the night he went from Bellevue High School football's equipment manager to the Cooliest. Not much is known about the early childhood of Josh Nichols, except that his father was the second most popular weatherman in San Diego. His father also had some athletic ability too. Keyword there might be some.
Think fast!
As Josh grew up, he rarely cared about what others thought of him and his interests. His stepbrother Drake, though, didn't really think that way. One day, Drake noticed a flyer at school that the football team was holding tryouts. His first instinct was to insist that Josh try out in order to, quote, up his cool. So he did just that. He tried out. How'd it go, though? In the words of Josh himself,
"First, I got tackled. Then I got trampled. And I'm pretty sure someone bit my ankle."
Okay, Luis Suarez. Josh did not make the team. But in his eyes, he earned a better role.
Equipment manager!
Serious question, why does the equipment manager get number 4 and not, like, the starting quarterback? Josh would then start his equipment manager job, eager for more responsibility. He asked the team's head coach if there was anything else he could do, to which he was told, make some brownies. Now, we need to talk about this football coach. Coach Davis was known for being apathetic. He hated his job and his life, regretting not becoming a singer. He even asked Josh at one point if he wanted to take his job on the spot and become the coach, which in that case probably explains why this team sucked. Oh, actually they didn't. A win in their next game would somehow put them in the playoffs? Before this next game, he was promised a used karaoke machine from the principal as a reward for winning, which is just what this man seemed to strive for. Anyways, Josh started making the brownies for the team. But unbeknownst to him, somehow the recipe was contaminated by dirt from a flower pot. What do you think happened when the team ate the brownies? One dude on the team named Witherspoon somehow ate 17 of these brownies, which there's so much wrong with. Why eat 17 brownies in the first place? How did you not notice that the main ingredient was dirt? Why were there enough for one guy to eat 17? And is there no athletic trainer to advise against any sort of nutrition plan that revolves around 17 brownies in one sitting? This team was clearly not in a position to play football, especially Witherspoon, which led to Josh's brother Drake publicly volunteering Josh to play center in his place. To which Coach Davis basically forced him into doing, which I'm not even sure is legal, but whatever. And one more quick detail. They were going to play Lincoln, the toughest team in the state. And this is California, so being the toughest team in a state that big is an accomplishment. One time they tackled a guy so hard he had to go back to the 4th grade. Josh, obviously having no interest in actually facing that kind of defensive line, came up with a plan alongside his brother. Well, after he tried to study football through video games and somehow let the computer score 400 points against him, which would just destroy the known record. It turns out the janitor at the school was a former pro football player named Zeke Braxton. The plan was to manipulate Zeke into playing in Josh's place, since Zeke has some very noticeable brain damage. This mental handicap came as a result of his playing career. We do not condone taking advantage of the mentally ill. There's also no knowledge of what position Zeke played, so if he played running back or maybe kicker, what's to say he'd make a decent offensive lineman? There's also how he looks and sounds absolutely nothing like Josh, so there's no way this plan could even fool a group of 3-year-olds, but they got Zeke to agree, on the condition of being paid $10,000 for his play. The brothers were on board, assuming that he wouldn't remember making the deal because of his brain injuries. This is just wrong on so many levels. Now it's game time. To better analyze the story of the game itself, we brought in Set the Edge for some help. He runs an incredible football analysis channel, and he's more than qualified to tell the story of what happened during the big game to wrap this video up.
Thank you, Mike.
I am honored to be able to break down for all of you what is not only one of the most impactful athletic performances of our time, but a testament to the resolve of humanity itself. Now, as Mike said, Bellevue High goes into this critical matchup inferior in just about every way to Lincoln. Even their head coach tells them in his pregame speech that they are smaller and they are less talented, which gets everyone extremely hyped up. Then it's time for the big switch, with Zeke Braxton taking over for Josh and heading out to the field to take his place. Of course, though, this poor soul who does not know who or where he is gets hit so hard by the opposing team that he has to be wheeled back into the locker room on a stretcher. Wait, stop. Those are not cleats. Was this guy wearing, bowling shoe? Never mind. Aside from the fact that literally no one notices Josh now looks like a stunt double for Andre the Giant, the team now faces forfeiting the game without him, and thereby disappointing the entire school. But not all hope is lost, because in a move that puts the greatest of NFL legends to shame, Josh decides to place the entire team on his back and run out onto the field to go and save the day. I don't actually know how this is possible, considering he was just declared to have a severe concussion just moments earlier, but now it's showtime. We don't actually get to go and see any of the action. I'm assuming that a football field set was just not in the budget, but like all epics of the past, it lives on in the accounts of those who did see it live.
But I thought that guy from Lincoln tackled me. He did, but he hit you so hard that he actually knocked you 20 yards into the end zone. You won the game.
So Josh scored the winning touchdown as a center by being tackled so hard he flew 20 yards into the end zone, still managing to hold onto the ball that entire time. They also later tell him that he gets the game ball partially because some of his teeth are lodged into it still. Good lord. So we can only really imagine what that would have looked like, probably similar to a rhino running full speed into a child, or Sean Taylor hitting a punter in the Pro Bowl, but knocking him 5 times farther. In the end, though, none of that matters, because somehow, someway, defying all logic and reason, Josh Nichols alone has secured Bellevue a spot in the playoffs, I guess. The coach gets his used karaoke machine, Drake is now brothers with a living legend, and Josh is able to return to doing magic tricks with the satisfaction of knowing it took him one play to cement himself as one of football's greatest talents. In the sports world, there can be heroes and there can be legends, but high above all the rest of them, there is one man, Josh Nichols, because his performance didn't just make him cool. It made him the coolest.